They heard me. Okay, I'd like to bring the November 3rd full board meeting of the Single Family Design Board and call to order with roll call.
Thank you. I'll proceed with roll call. Vice Chair Sherry?
Yes.
Board Member Graffiti?
Yes.
Board Member Moslahi?
Yes.
Board Member Richards?
Present.
We have quorum. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is public comment. Any member of the public may address the board for up to 2 minutes on any subject within this jurisdiction that is not scheduled on the agenda for a public discussion.
Thank you, Vice Chair Sherry. I will start with in-person public comment. At this time, I do not have any slips for general public comment. However, if anyone wishes to make a general public comment, they may fill one out and bring it to me. I will move on to virtual attendance, and at this time, I do not have any hands raised for virtual general public comment, and we did receive a written correspondence from Dodie Orchowski, and at that, I will turn it back over to you, Vice Chair Sherry.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes of the Single Family Design Board meeting of October 20th.
Did we take a roll call? Did we take a roll call?
We did.
Just focus.
Oh, and Vice Chair Sherry, just let me know when to keep scrolling when you
Yeah,
guys
you
are
can
done.
keep scrolling.
Thank you. Okay.
Wow. Stop there. Anybody want to stay on this screen? Okay. Okay. I'll make a motion for approval of the full board minutes of October 20th.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Okay, we'll take a vote. Board Member Graffiti?
Yes.
Board Member Richards?
Abstain.
Board Member Moslahi?
Yes.
Vice Chair Sherry?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Announcements, requests by applicants for continuances and withdrawals, future agenda items, and appeals.
Yes, so this is just a reminder from the last hearing for 226 Oliver Road that the case monitor did request attendance by one of the majority of the board, a representative for the majority of the board for the November 20th Planning Commission hearing for a coastal development permit, and that's for, again, 226 Oliver Road. I made an announcement at the last hearing, but I haven't gotten any emails volunteering anybody's time, so just a friendly reminder to reach out to me if you do manage to have the time for that. Again, that's on November 20th at 1 o'clock, Thursday. And my other note here is for 3139 Seacliff. This was at the last full board hearing. An appeal to 3139 Seacliff has been appealed by the appellant, and it's scheduled to be heard by the Planning Commission either on December 11th or December the 4th. We're still working out the dates, but staff is requesting a volunteer attend the hearing for questions that represents the board majority as well. So if you could send me an email about that, that'd be fantastic. And that is it for staff announcements.
Is it too much to ask for you to email us? Because
Sure.
then we'll have the email and then we'll know what our calendars are and we'll have
Sure.
them in front of us.
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and do that.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 1, 2310 Chapala Street. Sebastian, you want to read the
I can take it away.
scope?
Sure. 2310 Chapala Street. This is a continued item here for project design approval. And it is here, project design approval and final approval. The 17,012 square foot lot is developed with a 1-story, 2,456 square foot non-residential structure. It's a church and associated parking lot. The project consists of converting the church to a single unit residence with a 37 square foot addition, resulting in a 2,493 square foot residence. A detached 609 square foot garage with a 194 square foot workshop and 800 square foot accessory dwelling unit above are also proposed. The staff hearing officer approved an accessory building floor area modification for the floor area of a single detached accessory building to exceed the 1,250 square foot maximum, and determined the project is CEQA exempt on September 17th of 2025. The church parking lot would be demolished and replaced with hydro mulch. Associated hardscape and landscape improvements are proposed, including the removal of one 14-inch liquid amber street tree. The Parks and Recreation Commission approved that street tree removal on May 28th, 2025. Property line wood fences and gates are proposed of varying heights, in addition to a retaining wall, maximum of 3 feet 7 inches, with a fence on top and a privacy fence around the ADU. So again, it's here for project design and final approval. Neighborhood Preservation Ordinance findings are required, and the project was last heard on June 16th of this year.
Thank you. Your name for the record.
Heidi Jones, agent.
Qing Xue, architect.
Anthony Grumbine, architect.
So I don't know if we want to go over the meeting minutes, but
And Sam Maves, landscape architect.
Oh, hey, Sam.
Back row.
Can't forget you.
We'll switch with you when
When your time.
time's appropriate.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks.
yeah, hopefully you remember this project. And as staff mentioned, we got staff hearing officer approval in June for the oversized accessory structure. We're happy to go over how we've addressed the prior comments and talk about a couple minor site plan changes and answer any questions.
All right, happy November, board members. So a quick refresher, our project site is located at the corner of Chapala and Pueblo Street. And currently, there is a church building and its associated asphalt parking lot, which we're demolishing and replacing with hydro mulch. So for the proposed site plan here, you can see a small addition to the back of the church building to be used as part of the new main house of the property. And here is a proposed garage and ADU on the ground, garage and workshop on the ground floor, and an ADU above it. Since the last hearing, we have also worked closely with landscape and civil engineer to refine the the storm rain drain off in this area due to some neighbor feedback.
Those are just boring civil drawings anyways.
All right. So regarding the church building, if I remember correctly, we got feedback from Vice Chair Sherry last time, which we really appreciate, to study the proportion and head height of these two windows. So we have reduced the head height and dropped the sill and now it resulted in a much more balanced front elevation, and the user experience is improved because of the aligned sill height. We also worked with the client to reduce the head height of several of these windows on the side elevation, which won't really be visible from the public, but we thought it worked better with the current structure and helped with energy efficiency. And regarding the garage ADU structure, so following the board's feedback on studying the fenestration to be more appropriate to its secondary nature, we introduced some more details to the front elevation, including extending this portion of the roof and adding these plaster sill details. And we thought through these features, it draws your eye more toward the center and help the front elevation read a little narrower than it is. And you also see on the landscape plan, we introduced vine pockets to the front of the building. So by introducing greenery to this, it will help emphasize the secondary feature of it as well. Nothing changed to the rear elevation, but we included an outline of the church building here to show how little would be visible from the street level. This is the elevation facing the neighbor to the northwest side. And this elevation below is facing Pueblo Street. And we showed an outline of the retaining wall and the privacy fence above it. So from the street level, this portion reads as a humble residential building, which we think is appropriate to its nature.
And then one more note on that, the window type, so these are clad wood, aluminum clad windows on the ADU garage, and then the ones in the house are steel. So there also will be a differentiator in terms of more importance given to the main residence as opposed to the secondary residence. So.
And now we'll hand it to Sam to introduce more of the landscape.
Again, thank you. This is the site plan that shows the hardscape, and as Ching mentioned, the left side or the narrower side of the property was expanded hardscape-wise because we understood that there's some flooding conditions coming from the street to the north. So to allow the retaining wall in the back to let water spill onto the property, as I guess it always has, that widened a little bit. We still have trees, we still have shrubs, we still have ground cover where we can against the building and along the property edge. There's a very thick pittosporum hedge on the adjacent property owner. We'll be putting a fence against that for good privacy for both properties. The front landscape is essentially we're adding some new olive trees, Swan Hill fruitless olive trees, a small little sitting area of DG or gravel. We've introduced some palms, Kentia palms. The streetscape along Chapala is mainly the liquid amber. We did take one out, but we replaced it with another one to the right towards the corner. The parkway is going to remain quite simple with gravel and agave and quite simple low planting. The big factor was this large oak tree that kind of splits the two lots in the back, and we have an arborist report to make sure that the dry stack wall and things we're doing are not encroaching in any way on that beautiful big existing tree. There's a small little outdoor yard space back there and a dry stack stone wall. And then the landscaping kind of just embellishes all the different architectural components. We've got Grullia Cafra, we've got Bougainvillea, we've got Kentia palms, as I mentioned, and agave. Very drought tolerant, very simple, low maintenance landscaping. I think that covers most of what we had to show. Yep. There's the planting plan. I described most of that for you. We do have a fence on the north side and across the frontage on the left. That is a privacy fence, which a gate going into the service part of that property. And I think that's it. Yep.
And also, as Ching had flipped through, we have the typical details for the other things that we'll need for final as well. So lighting, spec, color, all
Do you want to
that.
go through those?
Sure. Yeah, so on our elevations there, our lighting spec, they're the wrought iron light, and then all of our color specs and color and material. Fairly typical. And then our door and window details and our detail sheets showing how, like, that wall, that buttress wall is, detailed out, wrought iron, how the grates are, and then all door and window and eave details, those things. I think that completes our presentation.
Okay, we'll move on to public comment.
Thank you, Vice Chair Sherry. I'll start with in-person public comment. At this time, I do not have any slips for this particular project. However, if anyone wishes to make a comment, they may fill one out and bring it to me. I see no one in the audience moving to do so, so we will turn our attention to virtual attendance. And at this time, I do not have any hands raised virtually for public comment. And we did, on this particular item, we did not receive written correspondence, so at that, I'll turn it back over to you, Vice Chair Sherry.
Thank you. Okay, questions from the board. Board Member Graffiti, do you have questions?
Sure. I'd like to just kick it off. Could you, I don't know if it's on the next tab, but could you pull up the minutes from the previous meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, would you like the project description as well?
No, that's okay.
So it's,
Yeah, can you zoom in a little bit?
yeah.
Just want to make sure we covered all of these in the presentation. Okay. And then, staff, could you just remind me, for FAR, I noticed that's not in the project description. Can you remind me why?
I think it's something we could have added. I can give you more details. I'm not sure why I didn't make it in there.
Okay.
But from the previous project description that you see in
Yeah.
there, it's changed a little bit, but only because the original calculations included the exterior stairs going to the ADU.
Okay.
But they have been updated. So the FAR calculations only actually include the net floor area now. And
Okay.
that should be on the title sheet of the applicant's plan submittal. So
Okay, great.
yeah, if you want to look at the actual presented.
I wasn't sure if that, because I know I was absent from the last meeting, but I was at the previous meeting and that had come up. And so
Oh,
I
got
just
it.
wasn't sure if something else changed that I was missing, but
Okay.
that's helpful.
Okay.
That's all my questions.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
More questions? Anybody?
I have a couple of quick ones. One is that you mentioned the main residence is steel for the windows and doors, and the ADU is aluminum. Are they color matching?
I believe we are.
They're not. So the church building, we have black, so because they're steel, and we're trying to go the more historic look, so they're.
So
Here,
the
as
blue
you see.
color is for the ADU.
So the blue color is for the wooden elements.
Yes, so on both. So we,
So
yeah.
we're taking
So we're using that
precedent-
blue color on both, but
Yeah, taking precedent from the Libero Theater main door. And there are a couple other buildings in town that our client is really interested in using the same color.
Okay, thank you so much. So in the updates that you guys did, any height changes from previous time we looked at? Like
No.
overall? Okay. And one other thing, clarification for the trees that are removed, it's only the street tree that it's removed?
Only the street tree, correct.
And can you clarify how many trees are proposed, like additional in total?
There are 2 olive trees in the front, and then there are 3 citrus trees along the side.
Pardon the interruption, but I just want to make sure people are speaking into their microphones
Sorry,
and that
I
they're
didn't have it on. I can
Yeah,
say that
thank
again.
you.
Yeah, we have 2 olive trees in the front of the structure along Chapala, and then there's 3 citrus trees along the north boundary line on the left side.
Okay, thank you so much. That was all my questions for now.
Sure.
Questions?
So I noticed on the main house's elevations, it looked like you had two different details for the attic vents, one on the front and then one on the back. Can you kind of walk me through that? Are some of those existing, or kind of what's going on with those?
So I think the one in the front is being added, and the one in the back is existing, is that right? The attic vent up there on the back side? Is that what you're talking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're furring this portion out to make the, if you remember, the original look is very non-residential. So we're trying to make it looking more like a house by introducing this slightly thickened bay and adding the tiled vent detail. And the back is existing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one point of clarification. So the wood columns on the main house, those are painted the same as the wood doors?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I had one question. Can I see your outlook or detail on the gable? And it's just on the elevation sheets, they're skewed in line with the slope of the roof, which I'm not used to seeing. I just was wondering why you were tilting those.
Oh, gotcha.
Do you see the ones I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, for sure. And I don't know that did we have a detail of them?
Sorry, which
the,
part?
The little outriggers, the little
These?
beam ends, yeah, little
Oh,
corbels.
So they are existing. So we were painting them over and keeping their original
Oh, okay.
location. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is kind of a quirky thing to
Yeah.
both follow it and then not. And yeah, usually you pick one or the other.
And there's
Either you
usually
go
one at the-
vertical or
There's usually one at the ridge.
Yeah,
So can I see
yeah.
the photograph of the front of the
Yeah.
house?
Let me try to bring up.
Oh,
the-
there it is. Oh, yeah, they are. It is skewed. It's exactly the way it is. Yeah, okay, I was just wondering why.
yeah,
It's
no,
interesting
it's-
to me. All right, I have no other questions, comments. Board Member Richards.
I appreciate the work that you guys have done. I think it looks like a pretty cohesive project, and will be a great addition to the neighborhood. So, those are my comments, yeah.
I agree with the comments that were made, and I appreciate the study that was done to preserve the oak tree between the lots. I think that is very important to that neighborhood. And I appreciate the decrease of the bulk and scale from, like, when you show graphically how from the church to the proposed project, the change in the bulk and scale helps a lot. I think that's all my comments.
Board Member Kafidi.
I think it's ready for approval. So that's all my comments.
Nothing?
My only, I think it's ready for approval. I'd be mindful of the grass, the lawn under the oak. That'd be my one comment to consider, how you'd landscape that just to make sure it stays healthy. But other than that, no, I think it's ready for approval.
Is that going to work, Sam?
Yeah, that lawn is 3 feet below the actual trunk crown up, because that is upslope. There's a small little 18-inch seat wall, and then there's a slope up to the base of that oak, so it's quite a ways below it. So I don't think there'll be much worry that root system that's there now is going to be disturbed in any major fashion.
Yeah, I wasn't concerned about the oak, but never mind, doesn't matter.
Okay. I thought you were concerned about the grass under the oak.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
oh, it's good.
They're at different levels.
Yeah.
So, okay. I don't have any further comments, so I think it's a nice project, and I think it's ready for project design approval and final approval. Does anybody want to make a motion?
You want me to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, I don't have the paper, but I'll do it like that. I'll move to approve the project for project design approval and final approval. And let's do the findings. Okay. The proposed development is consistent with the scenic character of the city and will enhance the appearance of the neighborhood. The proposed development is compatible with the neighborhood and its size, bulk, and scale is appropriate to the site and neighborhood. The proposed buildings and structures are designed with quality architectural detail. The proposed materials and colors maintain the natural appearance of the ridgeline or hillside. There is only one street tree that is proposed to be removed, and that has been worked out with the city staff. Okay, next one. The public health, safety, and welfare are appropriately protected and preserved. The project generally complies with the Good Neighbor Guidelines regarding privacy, landscaping, noise, and lighting. The development, including proposed structures and grading, preserves significant public scenic views of and from the hillside. Are we done?
And I believe that's it.
That's it, yes.
Just the MPO
All right,
plan.
do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Board Member Richards.
Yes.
Board Member Moslehy.
Yes.
Board Member Graffitti.
Yes.
Vice Chair Sherry.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. And just to announce the appeal period for this project, so there will be 10 days to appeal the decision made here today. And if staff doesn't receive anything, you guys are open to submit to building and safety.
Great.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
And up next, we have, what do we have? We have 3205 Braemar Drive. I believe we have it scheduled for 3:40. Is the applicant here for Braemar Drive?
I'm the landscape architect, the architect.
Do you, okay. Vice Chair Sherry, I'm not sure if you want to wait for the applicant team, because the time was scheduled to start at 3:40 and it's about 15 minutes away. I know we can start earlier.
I
but,
thought we weren't allowed to start earlier. Oh, 15?
Yeah, we can.
But the applicant's not here.
Correct. The applicant's not here. So if, would you like to hold a recess until the starting time at 3:40?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
We'll do
Go
that.
ahead and do that then. Thank you.
reconvene, and if anyone's joining us online, they'll still catch the presentation after you.
Excellent. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and read the project description into the record. We are here for item number 2, 3205 Braemar Drive for concept review. Project proposes to remodel the existing 3,552 square foot, 2-story single unit residence and expand the existing 2nd-story balcony, convert the existing 592 square foot attached 3-car garage to habitable space, construct a new attached 690 square foot 3-car garage with a 532 square foot gym above, and a 290 square foot terrace above. Project also includes remodeling the 2 existing driveway entrances, a new pool and pavilion, removal of a 79 square foot shed, removal of 4 trees, and new landscaping. The parcel is located in the non-appealable jurisdiction of the coastal zone. Review and approval of a coastal exemption is required. The proposed total of 5,472 square feet of development on a 44,420 square foot lot is 110% of the maximum guideline floor to lot area ratio. No final appealable decisions will take place at this hearing. Neighborhood preservation findings will be required when the project is reviewed for project design approval. And the project was last heard on June 17th of last year.
Great. So if the applicant can come forward, you'll have 15 minutes to present. And as a part of your presentation, if you can go to the second tab, which will have the old minutes, and if there's anything in there that you've addressed or changed in your drawings since the previous meeting, that would be helpful to cover.
And before that, I just have a couple staff comments. I'm Jillian Fennessy, the case planner for this project. Just wanted to give a little bit of background for the project. It is still in its completeness review period. And as Sebastian said, it was last reviewed by the Single Family Design Board on June 17th in 2024. At that time, the proposal included an accessory dwelling unit and a request for a front yard setback modification. Since that review, the applicant team has revised the project scope. The current proposal no longer includes the ADU or a requested front yard setback to accommodate ADU parking. Therefore, the project does not need to be forwarded to the staff hearing officer. In giving these changes, this concept review hearing provides an opportunity for the board to offer additional feedback prior to the formal SFDB review, and it also allows the applicant to respond to comments made during the previous review session. This project remains within the SFDB's purview, as it involves the construction and alteration of buildings exceeding 17 feet in height, the addition of a 2nd-story deck, and the installation of walls, fences, and gates within the front yard exceeding 3.5 feet in height. And I'm here to help answer any questions.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, my name's April Palencia. I'm with Vanguard Planning. I'm representing the architect who's Phil Keen Design Group. As I'm acting as the project manager, and this is Robert Richards, our landscape architect. The project, well, let me flip to the plans here. The project plans proposes to convert an existing 3-car garage on the east side of the house into living space. So you'll see the 3-car garage right here. And then when we flip to the proposed floor plan, this is now proposed as living and foyer, and there's a proposed 3-car garage on the west end of the existing house with a flex room and a bedroom proposed above the garage. Last time the project was seen, there was an ADU proposed, and that's since been removed from the scope of work. And the project also includes a pool and updated landscape design, which Robert will speak to momentarily. At the last SFDB hearing, we received comments which we've addressed, so I'd like to share those updates with you. The first one was regarding bulk and scale of the garage, in particular, the addition. Oops. So It was previously a flat roof that had matched the ADU proposal, and now we've changed it to a hip roof to match the existing structure and made the plate height 7 feet to kind of make it hierarchically diminutive to the home. And also to address the concern about the, I guess it was the massing, the board's concern about the massing. We've also added this band of eaves on the garage addition to break up that massing as well. Item 2 on the minutes, the board was recommending studying the architectural language. The plans have been updated to show that the proposed remodel is consistent with the detail, materials, and proportions of the existing house. So the design now shows those rafter tails, corbels, and traditional railings, along with the attention to the garage's proportions that we just talked about. The board recommended studying the roof and height at the second-story portion of the garage to minimize the overall bulk. That was addressed with the hip roof and the 7-foot plate. Item 4, the board recommended studying the proportion between plaster and glazing and including divided lights in the glazing on the front elevation. So we're showing those divided lights on the front elevation. And on the south elevation, where I think there might have been concern about massing between this window operation, the client is, it's really important to have the clear views of the undivided lights and also this operation where the window, the kitchen window pockets into the wall and the kitchen slider pockets into the wall as well. That was a really important connection between the indoor-outdoor spaces so that they flow readily. And we'd like to advocate for that since these features are not seen from the public way in any, at any angle. Number 5, the board recommended studying the elevation of the ADU. That's been removed from scope. Number 6, the board recommended studying the railing types and architectural detail types on the rear elevation. So we have changed what was, I believe, a cable rail to a vertical picket, iron picket, and added these plaster pilasters to kind of restore that more traditional feature. Item 7, the board requests a site section that cuts through the pool. Let's go down to the civil plans here. Oops, skipped it. So that site section is shown now. Here's the pool and the proposed grade versus existing grade. The board would, number 8, the board would like further understanding of the trees being removed and recommends finding an option to keep the existing coral tree. Robert will speak to that momentarily. Number 9, the board asked to see the design intent of the gates of the driveways. Those have been removed from scope. And number 10, the board was generally open to seeing vehicles parked in the ADU driveway. So while that ADU has been removed, we have kept the parking proposed in the east parking lot, or east driveway, and that parking is screened with landscape. And I'm going to turn it over to Robert to present the landscape plans.
Can I
switch? Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of give you guys a overall rundown for the whole plans here, since the landscape wasn't part of this before in your review. So, you know, this is a corner lot. You got Braemar and then Vista Arroyo that come around here, then neighbors along the back. There's existing hedging and tree, like there's a few trees along this edge of the lot, but existing very thick hedging that runs basically around the entire lot. So it's pretty well screened. From the street view of this property, the project is proposing to remove the existing driveway and then bring in a new permeable paver driveway, and that's to accommodate the new garage that's being added here. And, in the comments there was a request to try to preserve this coral tree that is right here identified to be removed. So the coral tree is in conflict with the location of where the driveway and the proposed garage need to happen. So we're trying to maintain this existing access coming into here. We also had arborists do a study of the tree, and the tree is not in good condition. So it's not really an ideal tree for this configuration of the driveway. And we went to the Street Tree Advisory Committee, which supported the removal of the tree, given that we're proposing 3 new trees out here. So I just wanted to bring that up. The front yard here, there's existing lawn area that's going to remain, and then we're proposing a new pedestrian access that comes into what's going to be the new front door of the house. And then the existing driveway, that's kind of a secondary driveway, is going to remain here and then becomes a parking area for guests. So, from the street view, the major changes are adding in the new driveway with the new trees, and there's going to be 2 new wing walls to go with the entry here, the pedestrian entry, and then this driveway will stay. So then, as the major changes are kind of in the backyard. The clients are wanting to entertain guests back here, so we're proposing a new swimming pool along with it's kind of like a cabana area, a bocce court, and then there's a fire pit, and then we've kind of reconfigured what's like an existing orchard area over here. So I've got some planting concepts here. There's I should go over that. There is a total of 4 trees being removed here. So we've got 2 palm trees, a cypress tree, and the coral tree. They conflict with the driveway, and they're not really, they're kind of insignificant trees in the whole scale of this entire property. So we're proposing a lot of trees as part of the overall design, and so you can see we've got some trees at the entry. Then we're using some trees here to kind of separate what is this secondary driveway area from the backyard. And the front yard is kind of this more like Mediterranean type of feel, and then the backyard, we're trying to pick up this kind of tropical poolside, I'm calling it tropical poolside lush, but drought tolerant theme. So that's kind of overall idea of the planting. So right here, I got a set of renderings that kind of explain how you use this backyard space. So you enter from the secondary parking area. It's kind of this like trellis covered entryway that brings you into where you got a bocce ball court, and then this is this cabana space that is adjacent to the pool. And this is all existing lawn area that's adjacent to this, where the changes are happening in this area, and the tennis court is also existing. So this is kind of a view walking towards this like pavilion space. It has seating and a barbecue area in it, and it's kind of set up to enjoy entertainment by the pool. Then as you would, all these like kind of landscape features are set up in a line where you have a fire pit that kind of steps down and transitions into the orchard area that's on the other side of it. So I was trying to kind of set up like kind of the informal, formal / look through the middle of this space. This is a view kind of looking out over the backyard from the new dining area that's up against the house. We have a little water feature kind of set up next to the fire pit area. And then this is also another view looking towards, what is this, orchard space. So the orchard's kind of something you can take a stroll through. And then provided some elevations and more information about what the cabana is. So this is going to be with like a Trex decking, like a synthetic decking material on the bottom, so it's all permeable, water can go through it. And then we've got kind of like contained little seating area, barbecue area. And then this is the entry pergola. So that's kind of the overall landscape theme. I think that kind of covers it. So.
Okay, great. If you need it later, you have 4.5 minutes remaining, and we'll move to public comment.
Thank you, Chair Lewis. I'll start with in-person public comment. And at this time, I do have a slip from a Mr. Dan George. If you could approach the podium, you will have 2 minutes to speak.
You'll do the written comments later?
We've all received them ahead of time and read them.
Okay.
Oh, and then, yeah, if you could just speak into the microphone and then state your name for the record and your address, and then I'll hit the timer.
Yes. My name is Dan George. Ready? Good. I am the neighbor directly south. I share 300 feet on the southern property line, which is length of a football field, so we are far and away the most significantly impacted by the whole project. So I was here for the last hearing, and I approve of the redo of the roof on the gym area. It's a little more in keeping, it's not a big box anymore. But to put the whole thing very simply, it's too big and too much dense development in their backyard, which is right up against our property line. So you'll see, if you look at the civil drawing C 4.0, you'll see that retaining walls projecting into the setbacks. And there is grading on the west in the setbacks, and more significantly to us on the south in the setbacks, pretty much just right up to the property line. The finished grade drops off. They've attempted to make a level patio essentially at the level of the finished floor in the house and extend it all the way out to the property line to our side. A couple of other things that I noticed on the plans is that on the architectural stuff, at the last go-around, I pointed out that the math wasn't quite right, and I noticed that they just rolled forward with the same math. So they're light on the square footage of what they're asking for by about 200 and some square feet. Probably, if you were going to let this go forward, I would ask them for a math compilation page to verify that they are doing what they say on their summaries. The civil drawings are pretty interesting.
And you are at time.
Out of time?
Yeah, you're out of
Okay.
time. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
though.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening.
At this time, I do not have any additional slips. If anyone else wishes to make a comment, they may fill one out and bring it to me. I see no one in the audience moving to do so, so we will turn our attention to virtual attendance. And at this time, I do not have any hands raised for virtual comment. And we did receive written correspondence from Miss Lori Rafferty and Eve Leeds. And at that, I will turn it back over to you, Chair Lewis.
Okay, next we will move to questions from the board. Does anyone want to start us? Okay.
I don't care. I have a couple questions. Can you go back to the front elevation?
Sure. All right.
What is the band around the large window in the dining room? What is that detail?
In the dining room. The dining room faces the pool deck, so the dining room is
Oh,
back
okay, so it's
The large
the
window to the
large
right of the
window
entry.
in the,
That one right there.
yeah, that window.
This is an existing, it's kind of like I don't even know if it's a bay or if it's just a flat, but they're just going to update that window with the new window products and make it a divided light, fixed
Okay.
view window toward the mountains.
Maybe, can I see a photo of the front elevation?
How do I navigate to that?
Huh?
Is it a separate attachment?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can bring it up. It might be tacked on to the end of the plan set, if you go all the way to the bottom. If it's not there, I'll work on bringing it up while the board answers any other questions.
Yeah, no, it looks like it's just our plan set here.
Okay, yeah, I'll see what I can bring up here. If there's any other
We can
questions that can be
maybe
answered.
look
for
it
you.
up on
I'll
the
check
Thank you.
the
computer.
old plans.
We can look at,
Oh, looks like it
We don't
might
have
be
site
attached.
photos attached either.
Here we go.
No, we
The
can-
old plans have site
Oh,
photos
the
old
attached.
I was
so-
going to look it up on Google. Something.
Yeah, you won't be able to see it because of the hedge in the front.
Would you mind zooming in?
Yeah,
It's a
let me-
touch screen if that's helpful.
Let me, okay, I think that's the, no, that's not quite it. It's this window that's kind of obscured by the landscape. Let me zoom out.
The reason I'm asking is I'm trying to get a sense of the architectural style, because we had made comments about that, and I wanted to look at what we were working with.
This is that big window.
Okay. And
Pretty concealed.
I don't really see anything there. Okay, it's covered up by landscaping?
Yeah, you're looking inside the room right here, yeah, and then right out through the back patio door.
But that's not changing other than the window there.
Yeah,
The window's
correct.
being replaced.
Yeah,
And
same
then,
size.
And then to the right of that, you're adding the new garage element.
That's correct.
And, okay, and then just can you go back and, while other people are asking questions, maybe leave the screen on that elevation, that front elevation?
Sure. Oh, the elevation in our plans.
Board Member Sherry, do you have additional questions?
No,
Okay.
thanks.
I'm happy to jump in. I just had a question around the windows in the north and west elevation above the garage. And what was driving the placement of those, and how much massing is kind of hidden by the roof line there?
This window in
Yeah,
particular?
and on the north
Yeah.
elevation as well,
Oh,
or on the
this-
west
okay.
as well.
Yeah, it's a typical 6'8" header height, which is really close to the 7'0" plate height. So you're just kind of gonna, I mean, most people aren't 6'8" tall, so you're gonna be able to see the mountains as you typically would from under the eaves. And then the other elevation facing west, yeah, just same plate, 6'8" window header and 7'0" plate.
Okay, great. And this actually is helping me answer my question about height as well. So I think that's it for me for questions.
Pardon the interruption. I was able to bring up a photo package. It's from, it might have been the ones that we were just looking at, though. They're dated from 2024 in May. Oh,
Yeah, it's the
perfect. Thank you
same,
for the
yeah.
clarification. Thank you.
Okay, Board Member Mosley?
Okay, can you show us, please go back to the north elevation here. And can you show us on your old plans, the old elevations, like the north elevation that shows the height of the car garage with the flat roof? And clarify if any like overall height has changed or lowered? Like north elevation, please, like, I want to
Oh,
see the
the north elevation.
two-story
Got it.
mass. Okay, how tall was that?
So, yeah, that was an 8.0 plate with another 1.5 parapet. So overall, it was 18.6. And I don't have a dimension to the roof here,
Yeah.
but it's 16 something to the plate.
Okay, thank you. And on the south elevation, there are existing columns. Do you have a photo of that? And can you walk us through, like, the columns has been removed, what has been proposed in the new project, and how you kept the architectural style?
Sure.
If you can zoom in, please. The one above, I think, scroll up.
Is that
please.
easier to
Yeah,
see?
that one was showing
Yeah,
the
there we
columns.
go.
Okay. So these columns are gone now in the proposed.
Right. Yeah, let me jump into the plans to show you the footprint here. So let me go to the existing, really. All right, so this is the existing first floor plan, and these columns are shown here in line with the family room and the garage. And so in the proposed plan, let's go here, you'll see that that existing garage line is now extended to expand the kitchen, and those columns, were basically absorbed by the wall, and so there's no more
Okay.
colonnade feature.
Okay, thank you. And one last question for the landscape architect, the north side of the car garage where we see the two windows and smaller window in proportion to the solid wall, what's the landscape that is proposed there? Can you show us?
Okay.
What's the height of the landscape?
So first, I
you
just
go-
want to know what window
Yeah.
we're talking about. You're saying
Or you
the-
can go to the landscape plan and I can
Okay.
point out. Or north elevation, which one is faster?
We'll go to landscape plan.
That would be great. So when you enter the site from where the coral tree is, existing coral tree, the wall that the trash,
Oh, right here.
yes, dumpsters are now, that wall, what is the landscape proposed in front of that wall?
Well, so this is a conceptual plan. At this point, I don't have specific planting chose for that area.
In general, of
But,
like,
yeah,
what's
we
the
could-
height?
To address what I'm seeing as your concern here, we can probably fit some taller planting in there to soften the structure.
Okay, thank you so much for now.
Looks like letter D is these large shrubs,
Okay.
and that kind of
Yeah,
conceals
well, if you go back to,
right here.
there's
the shrub.
there's taller planting there along the edge of the driveway to kind of, create some
Right.
sense of privacy
Here.
Okay.
looking into the driveway.
Thank you. We can go back to that in comments. Thanks, that was all my questions.
Board Member Richards?
Sure. Can we take a quick look at the rear elevation? I want to get an understanding of what's going on with that second floor deck above the main space. Yeah.
This
Right.
balcony.
So does that deck project beyond the face of the wall beneath it, or is it in line?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, see it. So here's the wall in the side elevation, and that deck projects proud of that.
And then it's picked up by, what are those columns underneath it?
Just wood posts, like
Wood
more
posts,
minimal
but they've
looking.
got plaster columns on the top or railing endpoints.
Actually, they are called out with stucco finish, so I guess that's where we landed on that.
Okay.
Can you show where those wood posts are on the south elevation?
Yeah, where are those?
Yeah, but it's just one. There's
south
nothing holding it up on the other side.
Oh, I guess just the one.
That's why I was confused with the
Okay.
colors. It's just weird.
So can we confirm so that deck does project, and we're just not seeing some of the columns?
I'm going to look in the structural plans to see if that was just the one column that we're proposing. Let's go back to the foundation. Yep, it looks like they wanted this to be circulatory space, so they are just proposing the one column and the rest is cantilevered.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you go to the pictures again to show us that rear elevation?
Sure.
So it's an extension of that balcony.
Right, it deepens the balcony.
I think it's this.
Okay.
That's my guess.
And then, can I get some clarity from you guys? The detail for the chimney caps, Are we matching kind of what I see pictured here, or what's drawn? Because it seems like there were two different details for that.
The intent is to match the existing condition, yeah,
Okay.
on the new chimney.
And then I saw several different tones for the wood that was being used between the landscape renderings, and or is there going to be a consistency about that, and maybe we're just not there yet in the design?
There is a photograph of the material on the plan set. The renderings might be slightly off.
Off from
but,
that, okay.
Yeah.
And then I am new to this project, so the doors and windows are going to be aluminum, or are they going to be steel?
I need to see where we landed on that. I'm gonna guess probably aluminum clad.
Okay. I think those are all my questions.
Okay, could you go to the old minutes again for the site section 1 that cuts through the pool and shows any retaining walls and the adjacent neighbor's property line? Okay, can you now go to that site section?
Oops.
Is the dashed line we're seeing on the left the property line?
This line right here, this vertical line is the property line, yeah.
Okay. And then where in relation to this existing grade is the patio? It's in line with the existing grade?
Well, it's where it says proposed flat work. It's
Right.
on grade, basically.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about the one that will be kind of beyond where you are at the pool, so it'd be to the side of the pool. It all stays the same, it's all the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
There isn't a patio shown on the property line side of the pool. It's a landscape area.
Correct, I'm saying basically behind where the section is being cut, making sure I see where the top of the pool is. I want to know that the patio is staying all the same.
It is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it doesn't go to the property line, it's pretty close to the setback.
Okay, and then the rest of the screening hedges, those are on the neighbor's property. There's nothing else on the
This
patio
hedge?
side. Yeah, see how it kind of stops?
It's on both sides. Oh, here.
Right.
I didn't look
There's
that
an
closely.
existing wall there that's on that. You can see it's called out existing wall. I guess it's slightly on the neighbor's property. But all that's pretty well screened in with what's existing there, so.
Okay. We'll move to comments from the board, and we'll start back over with Board Member Sherry.
I still unfortunately have some of the same comments that we had the last time, and it's the main element that that I think I'm having a challenge with is the new garage element, and it's I understand the challenge of designing a new 2-car garage and then a room above it, but what it's ending up looking like is just a big box. And it looked more like that with the flat roof, and now you've added the hip roof. But if you go to the front elevation, it's manifesting as the scale is not, it's not translating into the massing that you would typically see for this style of Spanish home. It's just looking like if you cover up the rest of the front elevation, to me it looks like an apartment complex because there's 2 little windows in the middle of it, and I think it needs to be studied. It's not looking like it's part of the house. It's just looking like it's looking very much to me like it's an addition that wasn't designed with the intent of matching the Spanish style of the existing house. The proportions of the windows are completely different. I'm not sure how big that eyebrow is that you're using to break up how deep that offset is between, maybe if you go to the south elevation, we can see how much the upper level is offset from the lower level. You know what I mean? But
You mean this?
see, it's not, oh, it's in line, so that's just a little plant-on overhang that is, like, looks gratuitous to me. I think that that whole wing needs to be studied to be more in keeping with the Spanish style. That's my biggest comment, but then there's other things like the detailing isn't matching. There's no support for a cantilever. A Spanish style wouldn't have a floating cantilever supported by one corner wooden post. The posts of the trellis are by the pool are very elaborate, and then you go to the main house and it's a diminutive kind of wood single post in the backyard. So the corbels are sitting above the beams on the landscape architecture drawings, but they're on the main house that they're actually being eliminated from. The corbels support the transition between the post and the beam. So they're serving two different purposes. The detailing isn't matching. I think they should. I think it should. I think the trellis should match the detailing of the house. And I'm not understanding the exterior pocket door because it's a pocket door and it's on the exterior. So how do you waterproof it? Those are my main comments.
Okay. Board Member Graffitti?
Okay, not a lot to add. I agree. I think the detailing needs to be studied more to make it a cohesive design. In general, I don't have too many concerns with the size, bulk, and scale. I think it's mostly the second story element above the garage and either bringing that in, or maybe it's just playing around with the details again to better match the Spanish style. In terms of landscaping, I'm supportive of the tree removals, and I think the landscaping is a beautiful design and may even add charm, or will add charm to the new addition as well. That can help with some of our comments, but yeah, that's it for me.
Okay. Board Member Mosley?
I think my comments are just like a follow-up comments of what was made. The main issue being the added two-story structure. When I'm looking at it on the north elevation, the proportions of the openings to the solid wall, if it was part of like the cohesive of like the extension of what is the house now, it should replicate or duplicate the two-story existing that is in the middle part. The roof is not doing that, so it's another language, and like the glazing proportion to the walls are not doing that. So it's obvious that it's something that is forced into the geometry. And when you look at it from south elevation, I don't know how the spiral staircase and I can't even understand the second story of the south elevation on the garage. I don't understand if it's a opening.
This is a
wall.
sliding door matching the sliding door
Okay.
below it.
The other thing is like where the transition happens, the addition, like if you zoom in the south elevation where the chimney is and the railing starts, that's the transition when the new two stories added both sides. I think like it has not been resolved. And the other thing is, especially on the south side, there's a lot of railing, new added railing, and I don't know if there is a specific design that has, on the details it's just showing like a typical railing and no specific design has been specified. And I think these are all my general comments. I'm sure there are a lot about the details moving forward.
Board Member Richards?
Yeah, I agree with the rest of the board's comments. I think that the architectural detailing needs to be studied. I think that there needs to be clarity on what the intent is with those chimney caps. And then, yeah, definitely a study in massing and support for that projecting balcony. I do think the landscape architecture is pretty nice. I enjoy it, and I can also support the tree removal.
Thank you. I generally agree with the board. The other thing that I'll add is to look at our guidelines under noise guidelines. I understand the site restraints on where the pool and the terrace are being placed, but now you have the tennis court and all of this activity all along the neighbor, and so I think that it's worth taking a look at additional noise buffers that could be introduced there. I understand that there's probably not another better place to site it, and given the scale of the site, feels like a reasonable size. And the other note that I'll add, I think that you can add more glazing to that garage addition, and what Board Member Sherry was saying about making sure that that addition really is cohesive with the rest of the main residence. And part of that is notating, even though the 6'8" might be standard, if you're going to keep the roof height where it is, making sure that you still have the plaster visual between the roof edge and the top of the window, but also just the quantity of them. I mean, looking at the floor plan, it looks like you have the ability to introduce more windows, and that will help soften it and create a little bit more residential feel to the large piece. I understand on the back side with visibility, and I think I can accept the argument at the kitchen servery, but I think at the second floor, those details really need to come in because you will see the balconies, and it will just help create a better project, really thinking about all of those supports. And if it's at all possible, I think it would be helpful to us to better visualize those areas. If not, we can look at these elevations, but it seemed like there were some discrepancies or difficulty looking between the elevations of what's happening, supporting them. Looks like you have rafter brackets on one balcony, not the other. You know, some kind of design cohesiveness between the balconies may also help. Any other additional comments? Otherwise, I'll make a motion. I move to continue this project indefinitely to the full board with the following comments. The board finds the design of the garage element to be inconsistent with the existing residence. The applicant should study the details of the existing home to incorporate the Spanish detailing into the garage addition and to better connect the scale of the new garage with the existing home. The applicant should study the proportions of the existing windows and make sure that the new windows match or have a consistent architectural style. The board recommends introducing more glazing to the garage addition on the first and second floors, especially at the main elevation, anything that would be visible from the driveway. The board would like to see details of the railings, the chimney caps, the balcony supports, and any other architectural details. The main house architectural detail should be more elevated than the landscape elements. Currently, the trellis posts and corbels are more detailed than the main house. The supports of the balconies should follow a Spanish style, so either more columns or some other visual support. The board is generally in support of the proposed landscaping and the proposed trees to remediate the existing trees being removed. The board would like to see measures to aid in noise buffering between the pool and terrace and the adjacent neighbor.
I will second that motion.
Okay, we'll take a vote. Board Member Moslehy,
Yes.
Board Member Graffitti,
Yes.
Board Member Richards,
Yes.
Vice Chair Sherry,
Yes.
Chair Lewis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have our last item.
Yes, last item, 3070 Seacliff. So this item is here for conceptual review. It's its first hearing. Proposal for an 1,100 square foot single-story addition to an existing 2,824 square foot single-story residence. A new 580 square foot two-car garage, a new pool, mechanical equipment, and landscaping. 5 trees are proposed for removal. The total proposed 4,575 square feet on a 48,351 square foot lot is 91% of the maximum guideline floor area ratio. No final appealable decision will take place at this hearing. Neighborhood preservation findings and hillside design district and sloped lot findings will be required when the project is reviewed for project design approval. I am the case planner for this project, Sebastian Herricks, that's me. Just a few staff comments. This already went through one round of completeness review. So staff is still waiting for clarification on some of the landscaping plans for tree removals. The applicant let me know that there might be changes to that. So any questions that you have about that, it would be great to ask for clarification now. And that's it for staff comments. And give me a minute while I bring up the plans on his laptop there.
Okay, thank you. You will have 15 minutes to present. If you can make sure your microphone's on and you state your name for the record.
Perfect. My name is Thomas Moss. I'm an architect and the agent on behalf of the applicant with Anacapa Architecture. A brief history on this project. We actually went through the SFDP process and a building and safety permit for this project for previous clients back in 2020. So this is kind of a second bite of the apple for this project for us. The previous owner started construction and sold the project to, or sold the property to our new client prior to completion of that previous permit. So as of right now, there's no garage on the property in violation of the planning and zoning ordinances. And so part of the project is us going through and revising our original permit and noting that we'll be constructing a garage as part of this new project. And you'll see that on our site plan, the relocation of where it was previously. This is a project right above Hendry's Beach on Cliff Drive and Seacliff Drive. I'm just going to jump into the existing context imagery just so you have a little bit of a understanding of what the project is. So this, let me zoom in here really quickly. So images 4 and 3 here show the existing context of the project, and this little area where my cursor is right here was our addition that we completed as part of the previous project. It kind of emphasizes some of the issues we have working with a architectural style that has a very strong silhouette, where you have this mid-century gabled structure, but how do you add on to that in a way that complements the architecture and really makes it feel like a cohesive project? Some other items we're trying to resolve with this project is enhancing the client's sense of privacy and security on the project. It's this entry courtyard you'll see here in image number 3. The front door is all the way tucked back up under that courtyard, existing courtyard area. One of the kind of critiques of the project that our client currently has is that she feels that she's constantly on display, and it's a little bit of a fishbowl effect, especially when you're looking at the southern elevation and you have this really great expansive amounts of glass on that southern elevation. The project itself is, as Sebastian noted, a small addition to the existing project to add another guest suite for our client's daughter, as well as an expansion of the primary bedroom in the project. So kind of moving down through to the existing site survey, you'll see that just extension where my cursor is right now of that building footprint, and where the front door is really at the base of this interior courtyard. And our proposed site plan, as we see right here, where we have our garage, where my cursor is located right here, up in this existing avocado orchard, right up against Cliff Drive, where the top of where my cursor is right here. And to really start to help our client's sense of privacy, the addition of this kind of entry courtyard and architectural walls that really kind of hide the entrance to this existing structure and provide a really nice welcoming entry sequence for our client, so she can feel like she's within the boundary of the project and feel protected as she goes to her front door. But it also provides what we think is a really beautiful kind of sequence of arrival at the project, where you park your car in the garage and then you walk into this entry courtyard, and then you're kind of experiencing this beautiful view south to the Channel Islands, and it kind of gets that sense of arrival, and then the full reveal of the view to the south. To further orient you, where my cursor is right here, on the east-hand side and on the west-hand side are the portions of the project that are new builds, and the existing mid-century modern structure is where my cursor is right here in the middle. Moving through to some of the landscape elements, I'll briefly touch on what Sebastian noted, is that there are some existing trees on the site that we're noting as demolished on this plan, but were already taken down as a kind of consequence of the heavy rains that happened in January 2023 in Santa Barbara. So there are a couple of eucalyptus trees right on the edge of that bluff top that have fallen down. And there's an existing coast live oak on the eastern property line that was unfortunately deemed, it had lost all of its heartwood and was in danger of falling onto the neighbor's garage and structure to the east. And so as part of the project, we'll be replanting that and adding some more coast live oaks throughout the project to make sure that we comply with the city's ordinances on protected tree species. A brief kind of look through the floor plan of the structure. So again, these areas on the plan east and the plan west are the two additions to the structure, along with this entry courtyard and architectural walls that kind of extend out into the landscape. And all the the goals of the project are to really draw anyone's eyes south towards the views of the Channel Islands beyond. A roof plan, and kind of plans of the garage structure. And moving into the elevations, you'll see, especially in elevation detail number 2, the existing structure of the mid-century modern kind of residence in the center, flanked and kind of nestled between these two additions on the east and west of the project that really kind of envelop the existing structure and still preserve it while at the same time providing additional square footage for our client. And then probably the best example of how this is done is on the southern elevation, where we have the existing very strong kind of character of the residence with the chimney in the center, flanked by these two volumes that we're planning on cladding in brick to really deviate completely from the architectural character of the existing plastered mid-century modern and providing like a complement and kind of this new versus old part of the structure. The garage is just a plastered kind of volume that mimics the new development of the structures. We have some reference imagery of what the tone and character of the materials are going to be for the project. So very subtle in terms of their kind of tone and their kind of materiality. A kind of parged over thin brick veneer that's in this warmer beigey Santa Barbara style tones, as well as some very light textured woods that kind of provide additional material breaks on the project. And then we have some additional renderings for you guys just to kind of get the sense of what the development is going to be. Both looking from here, the entry from coming down from Cliff Drive, as well as looking back from the southern part of the structure back at the residence. So this will be the southern elevation on the bottom left, and then the character of these internal courtyards on the right-hand side of the page. That is it for me.
Thank you. If you need it later, you have about 6 extra minutes. We'll move to public comment.
Thank you, Chair Lewis. I'll start with in-person public comment. At this time, I do not have any slips for this particular project. And I see no one in the audience to make a comment. So I'll turn my attention to virtual attendance. And at this time, I see no hands raised for commenting virtually. And we did not receive any written correspondence for this particular item. So at that, I will turn it back over to you, Chair Lewis.
Okay. We're going to move to questions. One, do you have existing elevations or just proposed?
Just proposed at this time.
Okay.
But I can bring up the images if you would like additional, the kind of context for the two sides. Numbers 3 and number 6 are probably the best representations of the existing context of the structure. So number 3 is the northern elevation looking south, and number 6 is the southern elevation looking north.
Okay. And you talked about privacy. For view number 1, will a new gate be added at all or no?
So there is an existing, as part of the previous building permit, there was a gate permitted that the previous owner never constructed, and as part of the permit revision and closeout, there will be a gate constructed. The gate itself and the rest of the kind of screening fencing along that northern property line is going to be plaster kind of walls around, immediately around the, I can go to a site plan that will help explain this a little bit better. So immediately around where this gate is going to be, plaster around this area with a kind of vertical wood plank for the gate, and then everything east of this area is going to be a welded wire mesh fence that is going to be kind of blended into the landscape around that area. So blended into the existing avocado orchard, as well as planned additional plantings on the northern side of that fence.
Okay. Do you know approximately how tall that gate is?
It's 6 feet.
6 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So can I ask, with a 6-foot gate that's already fairly solid, what the driving factor was for a solid wall blocking the existing house.
It's really our client's emphasis on security and privacy. She's really emphasized that to us a few times as we're going throughout the design process, where she really feels really exposed out there on the bluff top. And that's something that we're trying to really resolve within the design.
Because I see in some of the inspiration photos, even the first two, they're very large masses, but they still have openings. They're quite stark in their size, but there's still a welcoming aspect to them. Yeah, maybe we'll get more into that with comments. Additional questions? Board Member Richards, do you want to start?
Sure. So if we could go back to the elevations for me. So what is, on that top elevation, the material in the middle? Is that?
So that's a vertical wood screening fence. That's a space between the owner's kind of primary bedroom and a gym element. And so that's a kind of privacy wall to kind of enclose an interior courtyard in that space.
Okay, so that encloses a exterior courtyard, interior courtyard. And while we're here, so how tall is that brick wall that basically wraps the entire house?
10'8".
10'8" to the top?
To the top.
From grade?
From grade. So we're trying to have it be in balance with the existing ridge height of the structure and not really exceed that height in there.
And then could you clarify the height of the garage structure as well?
So the garage structure here is noted on here as 13'8". We've been kind of going back and forth with our client on what the overall design of that element is going to be and how we're going to articulate that space. There have been plans previously discussed for an ADU above that, but I believe at this time the owner has decided to kind of leave that to a future development of the project.
And that gets a plaster coating, it looks like, as opposed to the main house, which will all be that kind of European brick?
Yeah.
Can you go back to the perspectives real quick?
Yeah.
So that bottom right one.
Yep.
So we have the brick that flanks on the outside. Is there a material transition as you go to the interior courtyard? And
Yes.
Is this where that wood screen would be, or is that?
This is on the opposite side, so the wooden screen is on the western edge of the property. This is on the eastern side of the property between a new den area and the new guest suite for our client's daughter. And so this is more of a kind of pocket courtyard that sits into that space on the eastern part of the property.
And then is there a material change as you turn the corner for that interior space versus the exterior?
Yeah, we're really still trying to figure out like what that material is going to be. Right now, it's illustrated as wood in this rendering, but we've played around with a kind of a parged brick or even like a textured stucco in that area. It's still something we're deciding on. We haven't settled on a final product in that space yet.
Okay. I think that's it for questions.
I'm sorry, I have one more and then
Yeah, go ahead.
So when you look at the rendering, if you zoom down a little bit, or I guess up, it looks like there's a gap between that front wall, like there's a recess or something, but when I'm looking at the floor plan, I don't see, it's almost like light is being seen beyond it. What are we seeing?
Yeah, so again, we've been really playing around with how these walls meet with each other, and this was an earlier iteration in the project where we actually did have a little bit of relief there. We've been working with a landscape architect who actually recommended that we move the main entrance of the structure to the eastern part of the kind of the entry courtyard, and as a result, that will be returning back to meet the facade of that northern elevation there.
Okay.
So it's a in-process rendering that doesn't illustrate the final design concept.
Board Member Mosley.
Yeah, sure. I think like most of my questions were asked. Just follow-ups. At the entry gate, the wall that it's beside the entry gate, that is a 6-foot wall as well, yes?
Correct. It's kind of following the city's guidelines for wall heights within the front setback.
Okay. And then just to clarify, the avocado trees are proposed. There's no tree at the moment there.
The existing landscape, existing orchard is there. You can kind of see in this existing site survey just the amount of avocado trees that are in that range. And so we're working with a landscape architect and an arborist to make sure that we're trying to protect as many of those as possible, and if need to, relocate some of them to the western part of that proposed driveway. So there is a pretty substantial existing avocado canopy in that zone.
Can you show us in the images? Is it number 2 in the images?
Yes.
Okay.
So here that's the western side of the driveway, and you can kind of see here where the cursor is, just the extent of where that orchard currently exists.
Right. And I know you mentioned about the intention of the wall at the north entry face, but one of the intentions was to having this matching the height of the additional flat roof geometry? Was that like a part of a design to be just having
Yeah.
it as the height of whatever that is?
Yeah, that was the intent.
And what was the intention of having those as 13 feet, 8-inch high ceiling?
So the additions, the top of the walls, I just want to clarify, are 10'8" to the top of the parapet. As you get down into the existing edge of the gable structure here, the plate height comes down to around 6'8", 7 foot tall, and so any additions that follow that main ridge line to the east or west are going to be very small, and so we wanted to make sure that we could provide at least adequate head height for any spaces on those in those additions.
Okay. And one last question. What's the plate height at the garage?
The plate height at the garage is, I believe, 9 feet. Let me confirm. Yep, 9 feet.
Okay. I have one last question. In the renders, when you had the wood clouding, like the stone transition to the wood clouding, is there anywhere else in the project that is this happening, or is the only unique place that this is happening?
It's the only unique where this is happening, and to follow up on Board Member Richard's questions, we're still playing around with what that transition is going to be and what material is actually on the interior of that space.
Thank you.
Okay. Board Member Graffitti?
I'm sorry to make you do this again, but at the very beginning of your presentation, you covered what had been permitted before, and I'm confused, and I think as the question about the gate came up, since that wasn't in our description here, I'm just trying to understand what was permitted before, what was done or wasn't done, and then is there anything part of that permit that's not besides the gate that's not included here, just so I can kind of wrap my head around what's going on?
Yeah, sure thing. So part of the original, the previous permit application was this expansion of the floor plate you'll see right here. That was the part of the permit that was actually constructed. What wasn't constructed was an addition here where my cursor is moving northward, which was where the garage was going to be, and a new auto court that kind of spanned all in this area where my cursor was, as well as the gate and fence line up here. Of those elements, as of right now, the only part that was constructed is this portion right here, which you see in the existing elevations right here. This little section here with a little kind of slanted roof here, which feels a little bit like just a kind of forced-on attachment to the structure and doesn't really blend well with the overall architecture, in our opinion. So that's the only part that was built as part of this previous permit.
Okay, but besides the gate, the gate is on the previous permit or on the current
The
permit?
gate was part of the previous permit.
Okay, so is there anything else from the previous permit that we're not covering here? And I don't know, maybe I'm not thinking about this correctly. I'm just trying to understand if there's anything else missing that is still part of this project that we should be thinking about.
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Board Member Graffiti. Whatever is in the project scope on the plans is what is under purview of the board. So
Okay.
if the applicant is proposing changes to the walls, removal of the previously permitted addition, that is part of the scope, so that's something that we can comment on. I will leave it to the applicant to clarify if that front yard wall is something that they're going to be working on or changing. It's not something I believe I included in the scope. I might have missed it when I was reviewing the plans.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay,
yeah.
got it.
But also, I do have, and I guess just through the chair to the applicant, I do have the old planning case approval. So, you know, if perhaps at the next hearing, we can have that as a supplement. But I can't show it now because we didn't include it in the agenda
Okay.
or anything like that.
Thank
so,
you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Board Member Sherry? Okay, we'll move to comments. Do you want to start us, Board Member Sherry?
Sure, I can support the height, and I understand why the applicant has kind of done what they've done. They've explained it because they don't want it to compete with the roof lines. And, at first I was thinking, oh, is it too high? But then when I look at the height of the doors and the windows, and if you're trying to match that, then the massing has to be bigger because you have to have enough massing around the structure to make the structure make sense from a mass and scale standpoint. So I understand that, and I kind of appreciate the fact that it's different materiality and it's different massing, and it's not necessarily a different style, but it's a different approach to modernism. And so I could support it, and I understand the need for privacy, and Board Member Graffiti pointed out that we've been approving, or in the process of approving, the next door neighbor's property, which is to the west of this parcel, and it's similar style in that it's very clean massing, and it's actually higher. There's a two-story element that this project doesn't have. So I think this project is nice in its diminutiveness. So I can support it.
Okay, Board Member Graffiti?
I generally agree. I think the area I'm struggling the most with is the north elevation from Seacliff, just those strong walls and not having any openings. And maybe that's just as it's developed more with landscaping, but it just feels like from the front, it's not the most approachable, especially if you're gonna have a 6-foot gate. I'm trying to, visualize, maybe you can include in a rendering, how that's gonna look from the street, but it's not the most friendly opening for a front. And as Chair Lewis pointed out, even in some of the inspiration photos, there's small openings and maybe strategically placed that can still provide that privacy, but not just kind of look like almost a fortress wall from the front. But I agree in terms of the heights seem reasonable and the overall style. I know there's a lot of modern on this street and in this neighborhood, and supportive of some of the general comments around trees, although we'll look forward, to your mitigation plans in the future meetings. But generally, I don't have major concerns, but more of that front approach, I'm just kind of wrapping my head around.
Board Member Mosley?
I was first struggling with the height of the wall as well, but then I looked at the renders, and I can understand how it's a pure approach of what you guys want to do. And I was just wondering that if you have studied a lower wall, a way that the transom windows clear story was visible at first and then it reached this point, or it was like intentionally from the first design this height?
You can.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to board member Urpati's comments. We've really looked at, not in this package, but through the design process, how we can provide relief on that wall, because we have seen like it's a bit austere. And so we're really working with our landscape architect to soften that and provide openings and try to figure out like how this can be a little bit less fortressy as we
Okay,
go along.
thank you. Yeah, I can also support that. I understand that from like a mid-century modern, when we're looking from the north elevation, now it's a modern, pure modern, and it's kind of like a respect to the existing house that the additions are modern and not copying the mid-century modern, but still keeping the cohesiveness with the landscape that it's added. And one other thing, one comment to staff, just was looking at the existing site plan. It seems like the shed as well was part of, like it says, it's noted at to be demolished, so it's not part of the scope that we're reading here, but I don't know if it was permitted in the previous one, but I just noticed that as well. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I think, and I'm looking forward to see like the details and the transition between the materials, and looking forward to see like what the material palette lends. Thanks.
Board Member Richards?
Sure. Yeah, I guess I struggle with the height of the main house. It doesn't feel like you're at all responding to the existing architecture. You're almost just covering it up with a wall, which I get for privacy, and I think, it's really an attractive sort of take on modern architecture, but it kind of bothers me that there's just no response given to the house. It's, it almost makes me wonder why we're even keeping the house and why don't make the entire thing that new architecture. I also kind of struggle with the height of the garage, and maybe I'm misunderstanding this, but the garage is 13'8" to the top, and the main house is 10'8", which kind of just is out of whack with me. I think that they need to be the same and be treated the same, and I think it'd be really nice. I know it's more expensive, but if that structure was clad like the main house, I think it would create a more cohesive project. And then I would, I'd encourage you to really study how that materiality change works, and maybe that could be a strong sort of asset. In that one view, for the perspective, I kind of had an issue with the brick turning directly into the wood. I think if you treat that as a heavy mass and an anchor to the house, and then make those wood elements maybe more diminutive and softer and set back from that, I think that you're going to have a stronger project at the end of the day. So those are all my comments.
Yeah, I think similarly, it's interesting that in changing this style, you've chosen to still keep it in the back. I think if the back was something that you significantly saw, I'd argue for a more consistent style, because it kind of feels like it's competing a little bit with that element. But I do think there needs to be studying of that front entry and whether that's broken up by materiality, openings, something, it feels like a plain wall. And I think part of what is not helping it too is the choice already to maintain this kind of natural landscape that feels a little overgrown. And so it almost feels a little abandoned just being there. And so I think it would be helpful to see the visual with the gate and seeing the house. But I do think, really studying those precedents again, and I think even where they're changing the materials in that tall wall to help break up that a little bit or to create some interest and but overall agree with the rest of the board. Does anyone want to make a motion?
All right. Right.
Yes,
so
this is concept.
Continue the
these are
project
just
indefinitely.
general, I think we can include recommendations. They don't necessarily need to be conditions, though I think some might be helpful.
Okay. Help me with what I missed, but, so I moved to continue the project indefinitely to the full board with the following comments. That the applicant study the heights of the brick and walls surrounding the house and their relationship to the out structures. That the applicant study the materiality and transitions and details between the different materials that wrap the house. The applicant study how to maintain privacy and still provide erosion and openings to the front and side sort of mass elements. And then we look forward to the applicant providing a more comprehensive landscape plan. So height of garage is somewhat covered by that, the height of the main house and its relation to the out structures. So study reducing the size of the garage, or height of the garage.
I'll second the motion, but I have a, under discussion comment that is the last motion item that you said was about the height of the garage. Was that a further clarification of the first?
Right, yes.
Okay, because, yeah, I was going to say, to just say study the heights, we have to give them more direction
Okay.
on whether we want the heights bigger or smaller. So
So yes,
I think it needs to be.
reduce the height of the garage. in
So
relation
reduce
to
the height of the
main house.
garage, so that's the first motion item. And that was the clarification I needed, and to be okay with that. Okay.
Okay, we'll take vote. Chair Lewis?
Yes.
Vice Chair Sherry? Yes. Board Member Graffiti?
Yes.
Board Member Mosley?
Yes.
Board Member Richards?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
With that, our meeting for November 3rd has ended.